So a lot of people actually did like my Jordan Peterson video. So I got sent this a while ago. I've been waiting on it, holding it. It's from Chris Williamson. The hidden cost of being a deep thinker, Jordan Peterson. He's got the full episode. This is just a clip, but I'm gonna watch it and answer it because I'm a deep thinker. At least, yeah, I guess that's really it. Because I did my video on the 9 Intelligence by Howard Gardner. I think you should definitely check out that video because I think a lot of existential intelligence people are deep thinkers because it's the hardest intelligence to understand. And most people just probably think you're outright crazy. And yet you still are like holding the weight of the world on your shoulders. So let's see what Jordan Peterson has to say from this clip. This is from a year ago. Chris Williamson. If you want me to take down my video, I don't mind. Anyway, shout out to you guys. Leave down recommendations down below. And remember, this is a while after I did my Jordan Peterson stuff. After I seen some of a little bit of the side of Jordan Peterson's, I would say, more harder devout fans, I swore I was never going to watch another Jordan Peterson thing again. So like what I want to say is keep it cordial, keep it classy, keep it cool in the comments. Please watch the full video if you're going to hear all my takes to add context to them. By the way, for old Jordan Peterson fans who didn't get what I said in the video, I know people are going to get what they get. When I said if he was an occultist, now let me show you what that means. People were, did I hear you say cult? Cult? He's not an occult. This is what occult means. Okay? This is what it means. People take words. We live in the world where words are taken and twisted around to mean bad things most of the time. So when you hear cult or occult, I was saying, was he an occultist? Because a lot of his beliefs are metaphysical, and too, like, he's religious too. I get that, but, or maybe he just believes in God. I don't know if he's like, yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I know he's cool. And I feel a lot of the things, like, I feel similar to a lot of the thoughts that he has. And truthfully, if I did end up going to college for something instead of studying psychology on my own, I feel like I would have gone down that path. A lot of people in my life think I would have gone down that path. But that's just to set the scene and clear it that please watch everything, because that is something you can't teach people, is if you're going to make a comment. This is why a lot of YouTubers just ignore the comment section, because you need context. So watch everything, because I'm a professional talker. So please don't take anything. And I think this is going to be a cool video and a nice one to come back into some Jordan Peterson and Chris Williamson content. I've never really seen or heard. I've heard his name, but I've never really watched his stuff. So let's go. With that all setting the scene, let's get into it. I am literally terrified, man, to be watching this right now. Dude, Jordan Peterson fans, at least like the more devout ones, dude, some fan bases get toxic, dude. All right, let's go.
One of the things that I've realized is that people that are self-reflective, that rely on cerebral horsepower, that pay attention, that think in a detailed way, the more nuanced that your thinking is, the fewer people are going to be like you, which makes you feel more alone. How do you think people can overcome this?
Ooh, I like how he worded that. And it's very true. If you hear some of my deeper videos on the channel, I mean, it's just true. There's like, I feel like I experience reality in such a different way, but a lot of the people that I've attracted, and this is why I definitely believe life and energy, you know, energy, vibration, and frequency, the way the universe runs, you truly attract what you are. Because I've attracted a lot of people that do have similar thoughts and feelings and experience reality in a similar way. And it's like goes back to what Albert Einstein, he said, like, there was a quote by him that said, basically, I'm going to paraphrase, but basically, if you know about your own consciousness and just how the universe works, then you're never alone. So that's kind of how I deal with it. And through literally getting a reflection of that in reality, I felt like I wasn't alone. And I also have a bro that's very close to me, even in times where I'm feeling isolated and alone because of my thoughts. I don't truly ever feel alone.
Well, I would say that hasn't been my experience exactly. Because as I started to make my thoughts more public,
Yeah.
they seem to appeal to more and more people.
Yes. Yep. See, yeah.
And so I don't know if that's a threshold phenomena, because maybe it is, you know.
Yeah.
As you start to become specialized as a scientist, in some sense, your vision narrows and narrows, although it gets more high resolution at the level that you're operating. But you kind of pass through a needle, let's say, out the other side where the thing you're studying starts to become everything again. And so maybe that's that developmental progression.
Further, more
Yeah, specialization
Sauce.
and then
generalization again.
Saucing.
Yeah, I think that you might be right there. The deeper into the breach thing, the show that I went to go and see you do in Manchester in 2017 or 18, someone asked a question about the depth of my consciousness causes me to suffer, and you said you take more of the thing that poisons you until you turn it into a tonic that girdles the world around you. And I think that this is something you see here as well, that when you start to think differently, when you start to consider the way that you're living your life in a more detailed, higher resolution, more unique, more nuanced way, you will probably receive pushback, especially you know, speaking from personal experience. In the normal working class towns, people born, live, die in these places, it's insular. There isn't a huge culture of, especially in the UK, tall poppy syndrome is a huge problem. The biggest difference that I've noticed actually between
What's tall
American
poppy
people
syndrome?
and English people.
What's tall poppy syndrome? I'm gonna look it up. Is it this tall poppy syndrome? Refers to successful people being criticized. This occurs when they appear their peers believe they're too successful or bragging about their success, cutting down the tall. Wow, I thought he said top poppy syndrome.
Is that American children are told that they can be anything that they want to be.
Depending what household you're from.
They're told that they have blue sky vision, they can achieve whatever they want.
Depending.
And that gives them a lot of confidence. When us Brits, stuffy, stiff upper lip Brits see Americans on TV, it sounds like everyone's had media training because everybody's just so enthused about whatever it is, even if it's a 18-car pileup. And then
I mean, yeah, but I was actually just talking to an artist from the UK, and she told me like what is shown, like what is glamorized over there from like American media. But no, you know, if it was truly like that for every household, then I feel like you would definitely have a different environment of people. I mean, it does feel competitive over here at times, but it's like, I would say, not see it, because here goes to that nuanced thinking. I feel like I'm really in my own path and I'm not racing against anyone. But if I speak from the perspective of the general, like populace, what he said is kind of similar. I came up from a small suburban town where they literally said everyone that leaves this town ends up coming back years later or ends up just getting stuck here. And it was this sort of dread mindset of like, you're never going to leave this town. You're going to be born here, live here, and die here. You'll maybe travel back, but you'll travel back here to pass away. And I was like, dude, because they called it the Twilight Zone. So I feel like it's just a matter of, and I'm sure he knows this, so, you know, but just to keep the conversation forward, you don't want to do what I do. That's what makes these podcast dudes cool, because I'll talk your ear off for an hour.
Equivalent in the UK is that deviating from the norm is very, very, very quickly mocked. And
It's mocked
there's
here
a lot
too.
of that in Canada too.
tall poppy syndrome, it's a big deal.
It's here, yeah,
Now-
it's mocked here. Oh yeah, because he's my bad. Like, I know that he's talking from him, but yeah, what you're showing on TV of America, that doesn't represent what's actually going on in the streets. Because at least from what I talk about is, in the black community, it's always your brothers and your sisters tearing you down. And it doesn't matter if you have a good business or not. You always get the most flack, I feel, from your own people. And I don't know if this is the same for anyone else, but I've known for me, like, straight up, like, I was the weird nerd, but I was also the cool guy that everyone knew. And also when I started dancing, that too. But it was that, like, you know, like, that weird, because we also have the added on thing of like, oh, you act white and you talk white, but you're black. You're like a black white person. So that added on with all of this is just like, You were you felt isolated.
The
dude.
Japanese have that saying too, except it's
Oh wow, the
the
Japanese.
nail that
Yeah,
sticks
it's just
up
everyone.
above all the rest is the first one to be struck down by the hammer.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And there's some truth in that too.
The nail that is first to poke up is to be struck down by the hammer.
There's some truth in that, but some and all are very different words.
Yeah.
When you roll the clock forward, what you end up with is American children that then become adults who look around at the world and say, well, hang on, this wasn't what I was promised. I was told that I could be anything that I wanted to be. I was told that I could have anything that I wanted to
there's
have.
a difference between you can earn everything that is earnable and you deserve everything there is.
Yeah.
So that message can become
Yes.
what you say, it can become misinterpreted in a
Yes,
narcissistic
yeah.
manner.
Yes.
I
Yep.
think that has happened to some degree, especially as people have had fewer and fewer children.
Yep.
You know, Jonathan Haidt and Luke Enough talk about the coddling of the American mind, and they think about that in large part as a consequence of an ideological transformation. And some of that's true, but it's also useful to look at more fundamental phenomena. People have children when they're a lot older. They have way fewer children. They have way more resources when they have children on average. You know, if you're one kid of 8, you're pretty much battling it out for attention, for a very finite amount of parental attention with a lot of intense competition. And the probability that you're going to come out of that entitled and narcissistic is pretty damn low, because your siblings will definitely punish you for that. But if you're the only child, especially of older parents who are also more conservative because of their age and also less willing to take chances with you because there's only one of you, and then you have a lot of resources at your disposal, well, that's a whole different.
So from that perspective he's speaking on, I gotta remember the wire. I'm an only child, technically from my mom's side. I do have younger brothers, but I never met any of them. They all live in Florida, and even when I was out in Florida, I never met them. So, and I do have a sister, but I'm the only child under my mom. So I grew up basically not knowing my sister or my brothers. And this only child syndrome that he's talking about, not really. I didn't get the narcissistic half, because he's talking about, like, you know, older parents, much more resources. And I grew up living with my grandma. So I was more like, my path was humble, like shy, like hard worker in school. I had parent teachers conference literally at my house. It was dope. Like, teachers knew my grandma was like old, so they literally came to the house. That was such a freaking cool experience to me as a kid. And I never really had confidence in myself when I was younger, because I didn't really have a father figure. So like, I had to learn both, and I have a lot of women in my family, so I chalked that up to my emotional intelligence. Because, yeah, while also having to build the confidence, it was a lot. That's why this deep thinker thing, man, I feel like it's funny that they go into the only child syndrome here with also this whole cut right here being based on deep thinkers. Because I feel like when you're an only child, at least from my perspective, that you're going to be a super deep thinker of what is your place in the world, being alone right from the bat, no brothers, no sisters, constantly thinking what's your place here. So I didn't get the narcissism hand of the stick. I got the why do I exist, and that, I think, is what catapulted me into searching for truth so heavily.
That's a whole different.
And then having to make your mark on the world, it's like you do have to adopt this delusional mindset in a way of like, you do deserve to get what you work for, and you deserve to choose to be happy within yourself. That sort of, not like a literal, because there's the two ends, there's the spectrum to everything. So there's like a bad delusion, and then there's like a good amount of delusional to be successful.
Developmental milieu.
So,
and we have no idea what the consequences of that are, but the idea that children in that circumstance are more likely to be overprotected and dependent and structured, it's like, well, yeah, undoubtedly.
yeah.
And, you know, that would even be an overabundance of parental virtue in some sense, right? Well, we
That
just
part.
did nothing but pay attention to our child. Okay, but too much.
What did you expect? It's so strange because I'm an only child, right?
You see,
and all of the, well, maybe my friends might say differently, but a lot of the commonly held presumptions around only children, and I have a couple of friends who are as well, and I don't know whether it's where we're from, that the northeast of the UK is very spit and sawdust, it's salt of the earth people, it's, grab your bootstraps and your boots and start pulling. And I just haven't seen that. What is it through your clinical practice? Would there
this might not be a primarily working class phenomena, the coddled mind phenomena that could easily be a middle class and upper.
That's what I thought, because it's like from my life, I didn't go through that, so I didn't go through this. Like it was toughen up. Like my grandma, she's white, Italian, lovely woman, bro. I really honor her. Man, you get, if someone punches you in school, punch them back in the face. Hard Italian woman. It's like, so I didn't get this, like, I got this, like, you gotta get some strength in you, man. And I don't like fighting. I never it's just, so it's interesting. It's interesting to see.
Is there something, was there a common trend, or from your reading, have you found that only children tend to be one way or another?
No.
So you just get huge variance in them as well?
I don't know the answer to that at the level of individual psychological data. There might be a literature. I'm not aware of it. For me, that was more a response to Haidt's book on the coddled mind. I thought, okay, fair enough. Coddling of the American mind. What's driving this?
What's driving it?
It's not just ideas. It's a huge demographic switch. It's a huge transformation in the way we raise children. We're 10 years older when we have our children now.
What is this
That's
pan?
a lot older. When you're 18 and you have a kid, you're still a kid. And there's some wildness that's perhaps not so good about that. But there's also perhaps a higher proclivity to go off and live your own life. And then, how much should your children be left on their own? The answer is as much as they can tolerate.
Yeah. Oh,
and how much is
like
that? Well,
we'll find out. I wish he talked like that sometimes. I like that he keeps such a professional manner, but it's really like, we'll find out. We're going to throw you to the wolves and let's see what comes back. Like throw you into the wild.
Out with each child. But it's certainly possible to not deprive your child enough.
What's happening, people?
To deprive your child enough.
Press here for the full unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe.
Sick.
Peace.
Pace. I like that, dude. I love the UK accent and everything. Dude, it's solid. I mean, that's it. Much love and Moonlight for me. I'm going to get out of here. I got some few words to say. I agree with most of what Jordan Peterson said. Like, again, when it comes to this pan right here on his hands and everything was the weirdest stuff ever, bro. But yeah, I wish he was just like, he sometimes let loose, like Ben Shapiro just recently let loose and say, yo, what's up, bro? That's a whole nother thing. I'm not even, that's so crazy, dude. What a video. Props to them for doing that. If you're wondering why I keep like going down and looking, I'm getting notifications. I got a meeting, but I'm gonna say this right now. Like I said, solid video. I love Jordan Peterson's mind, dude. And I hope, at least to his fans, I'm never in first of all, with anyone really, I'm never in conflict to what their beliefs are. You can believe what you want. But it's just so funny that in my old videos, when I delivered basically what I was saying in a chaotic way, like I even handled, I kill people with kindness. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't want to be, like I avoid confrontational moments anytime I can, especially on the internet. Maybe I'll just ignore the comments because it's just like, I think some people just don't care to watch a video all the way. And this is a good video for me to use that off, like use it off to say this, to make this statement, because it's just like, yeah. So see, hopefully in here you can see, I definitely agree with a lot of what he says. I'm researched, but I'm not an official psychologist. I don't claim to be. And yeah. And even my thoughts on all of that is at the same time as you can become a very well-educated person and still be very, very stupid. Remember this. I'm not saying Jordan Peterson is. I'm just saying, like, to the people who follow him, please take his message, because I'm not even a big fan of him. I like it. I like him and so far the work I've seen him put online, but don't miss his message, man. Don't miss his message. I feel like a lot of people do that. I'm gonna end this video by saying this. It reminds me of David Goggins. When, you know, people meme David Goggins or all this. My roommate, she was even doing it, saying like, oh, he's super intense or this. And funny enough, I said, watch, he's gonna put out a video soon, I bet, addressing stuff like this. And what, lo and behold, he did. He had a hoodie on, he was sitting in this room, and I don't know, I think it was like a gym locker room. And he literally said, my message is not for you to go out there and you know, off yourself. It's not to go out and do what I do. It's to get up and basically, like Chris said, you know, where he came from was real. Pull up by your bootstraps. That saying, like, go to work. Even if you're like an only child, like that's kind of, it was your environment too that played a role. Which is same with me, man. You're gonna have to go hard. You're gonna have to believe in yourself, and it's gonna take delusion. So it's never any narcissism sort of thing, but there's a sort of level of like grind. And when you're an only child, and I feel like just someone, you have a lot of time to think. You don't have brothers and sisters. But yeah, man, like David Goggins, don't miss the message. The message is you gotta be the hardest you're gonna be in your life for you. You gotta go for what you want, be the most authentic and just be the most badass in what you do. Jordan Peterson's message is a lot of his ideology. I always find comparison, like I always find similarities in a lot of the things that these guys say that are for you mastering your mindset, mastering your consciousness. It's all revolves around the same thing. Better your motherfucking self. Don't feel sorry. Use that energy to get up and be a boss. And really, true unity will come from things like this. There's division, bro. Just hearing my own little takes on what he was saying, and like me saying I disagree with some points, like in the other videos, if that's what I did. They're old now. I'm not gonna go back and watch them, but it doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean I disagree. It doesn't mean like I'm trying to insult his intelligence. But like the fans will be more mad than if I were to talk to him. It's crazy to me sometimes. Anyways, like I said, keep it cordial, seriously, and take their message. Did you get the message? And did you get my message when I'm giving you my little takes on these things? Look, better yourself, be strong, and be about unity. Stop this division, bro. I don't not like Jordan Peterson, if that's what anyone thought, but I know from the analytics and the likes and the good comments on the video, you got like the ones who got the message. No, I really messed with him heavily. I'm gonna keep this PG. Dude, I gotta get that message out because I feel like people just on the internet just like will believe anything, or they just won't get full context. Dude, I don't know, man. Internet's a wild place, but I know what I signed up for, so it's all good. Much love, Moonlight. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.